And the poem for today that I've chosen is Oneness is the only need. We can establish oneness only when we become the soulful life of peace and the fruitful heart of love. Oneness is one of the qualities which I treasure and value most. I know they say you should be aware of your values. Your values give you power, because whenever your life throws you off your balance and in the wrong direction, your values are like the North Star and they bring you back on track. So one of the values that I treasure is oneness. And Sri Chinmoy, my spiritual teacher, says that we're all part of each other. It's not a question of like charitable giving. I've got something and I give it to you because I feel sorry for you and I'm separate. But in oneness, it's like your own body. If your leg hurts, you rub it. You don't stop and think, oh, my hand is going to do something very nice for my leg. I'm going to rub my leg because my leg is in trouble. It's hurting. It just automatically, instinctively goes there. And when the stronger we have a sense of oneness, the more automatically we're going to look after each other, help each other, and obviously never hurt each other. So this is oneness. And then it comes to mindfulness. These are mindfulness morning videos. And the mindfulness exercise that I wanted to share with you today is, I said like mindfulness is a bird with two wings. The first wing is we bring our attention to here and now, almost step outside ourselves and look at ourselves with a curious observation to see what it's like to be me today, here and now, at this moment. And you notice where you are, what you're doing, what you're feeling, and what you're thinking. So the second wing of the mindfulness bird is the attitude that we bring to it. We bring an attitude of kindliness, self-love and compassion, genuine curiosity to see what we find, and no judgment and no criticism. And this third thing I always say about mindfulness is the mindfulness bird likes to sit down in its nest or on the ground or on a branch. And that's what we do when we do a mindfulness exercise, where we take time out, find somewhere a little bit quiet and where we won't be disturbed, and do a mindfulness exercise. And we did mindfulness exercises on sight so far, and then yesterday on sound and hearing. And the fourth thing about the mindfulness bird is not only does it like to sit down on its nest, and we do our exercises that we try and schedule every day, several times a day if you can. 2 minutes to 10 minutes I recommend. But the other way, the bird has a habit of flying in the sky, and that's what it's really designed to do, to fly out into the freedom of the life and the world. So when the mindfulness bird is flying, that's like we take our mindfulness out into our ordinary life. And you take it into everything you're doing. You can start when you're waking up, just being mindful of what it's like to be lying in bed before you get up. And take your attention to what your body is feeling like, the warmth, the temperature, and the way that the sensation of the blankets or the quilt is resting on you. And really relax into that sensation and feel the weight of your body, the warmth of your body before you leave your bed. Then you can do it in the bathroom when you're washing your face, noticing the wetness and the coolness of the water or the temperature of the water, and what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, all that dimension just as you're washing yourself in the bathroom. And you can do it every minute of the day. You can do it with what you eat, noticing the texture, the scent, the fragrance of the food, the flavour of the food, what it feels like to chew it and swallow it. You don't have to do it for the whole meal, but you can do it for a minute or two anytime you're eating. Same with walking and noticing the way the weight transfers from one leg to the other. So I just thought I'd give you that kind of background before we start the actual exercise today. I notice it's already 8:27 and my aim is to do my videos at 8 o'clock. But last night I was doing the slow bit of my silk painting, making the cards. I'd done the silk painting, but I had to mount them. And this is an example of one of the ones that I mounted last night. And there are also there's lots of the peace doves. And I call them Peace with Justice and Oneness, Love, Freedom cards. And the white dove is part of the colour of the Palestine flag. And the background is the red, the green and the black. And I often put in some purple and a touch of blue because purple and blue, all the colours are a representation of energy. And they hold certain qualities. And purple and blue have qualities like courage, nobility and spiritual power, which I want to share in the cards. And then I did a few square ones. I don't usually use square, but I've got some square ones left. So I did some square ones and a couple of round ones again, which I've got left. I don't normally get round apertures now, but I've got that one and that one. So those are the cards I've got today to share with you. And the exercise that I'm going to do today is using your sight, using your hearing, and using your other three senses, your sense of touch, smell and taste. It's sometimes called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a good one if you've got to wait for someone or if you want to fill some time, because it doesn't take long and it really is good for bringing your mind and your attention to the present moment. So, before I start my mindfulness exercises, this is my habit. It's not standard, you don't have to do this, but having found somewhere, a branch to sit on or a nest to sit on for your mindfulness bird, find somewhere peaceful and quiet to sit. Do a few stretches and twists. Make your body feel it's been included. It helps it to be calm and not disturb you with any sensations. And then take your attention to your body. Notice how warm and solid it is. Notice where the weight is resting and pressing down. And then take your attention to your breath. The inhale and the exhale. Breathing from your diaphragm. You can put your hand on your tummy and notice how your tummy rises as you inhale. And I find just by paying attention to my breath, it becomes slower and deeper, and some of the stress already starts to evaporate. And then 5 things you can see. I can see my notebook. It's actually my sketchbook, and I wrote in it the poem I wanted to use today, and I collected in it when I was mounting the cards all the little offcuts of silk that I may use on a smaller one. And in my notebook there's also the roses. I like to do some drawing every day, and yesterday I was looking at a photograph of a rose and trying to work out exactly where the different light and shade goes. So that's my sketchbook. The second thing I'm going to look around and notice is my spiritual teacher's picture is up over there on the shrine. And the third thing I'm going to notice is, my cup of tea from yesterday. I have ginger and turmeric tea before I go to bed, sliced up ginger and turmeric. And last night I had lemon and honey because I had a sore throat. I didn't go busking last night, which was not particularly responsible when it comes to income, because I had planned to go, but I was responsive to the fact that my body was feeling a little bit rough, and I didn't go. I worked on the cards instead. Not very wisely. I wanted to finish them so I can go out and sell some today. And I went on till getting on for 3 in the morning because it's such a slow process. So we've got the things that I've looked at, my sketchbook and my spiritual teacher's photograph, and what was the other one? Already forgotten. Oh, the cards that I've made so far. My sketchbook, my spiritual teacher's photograph. And then I think a couple of days ago I mentioned to you I want to bring some nature in every day and show you something that's natural and the beauty of nature. And I couldn't see it, but actually it was on the windowsill. It was a little vase that I have in the bathroom, and often when I go for a walk I bring a few little wildflowers back. Nothing rare or endangered, just something that's flowering by the path that I'm walking on. And I brought white campion. So I brought that in from the bathroom to share for you. And I couldn't see where I put it. So that's number 4. The white campion flowers. And I'm going to draw them this morning. And what else? The 5th thing I'm going to choose. Just trying to put it back without spilling it or dropping the phone. The 5th thing that I can see in the room that is particularly of interest. I'll show you these roses again. I'm doing bigger cards, more complicated cards, using wax gutter as well as using wax as well as the golden gutter or the bronze gutter. And you can see why I was studying the rose yesterday, because I'm trying to learn how to do these better. And I'm also exploring the different styles of background, and that one I'd kind of drawn with the gutter, so the gaps are just between. You can vaguely see I've done a few flowers and they show up lighter, and they were drawn with the wax, and then the the dye goes behind them. So we've done 5 interesting things that I can see. Next you do 4 interesting things you can hear. And I can hear the bin men. They were louder just now, but if you're very quiet you might hear them. They've moved off down the road now. What can you hear? Can you notice 4 different sounds? I can hear a cat outside the door. I fed them when I got up this morning, so they're not in the bedroom with me, but one of them's just outside the door. Making a noise, trying to come in. Oi, Mum, open the door. What's the farthest away sound you can hear? I'm stretching my ears to listen for aeroplanes because we're on Heathrow's flight path here. We can usually hear an aeroplane every 3 minutes. But sometimes they have the runways arranged differently and we don't get them. So I've got the sound I heard in the street from the bin men, the cat outside the door, and then I'm bringing my attention into my own body. It's a kind of slight hissing noise. I think it's what they call tinnitus, but it's not loud enough to really disturb me. So I wouldn't call it tinnitus, just maybe the sound of the fluids flowing near my ears. Some people can hear their heartbeat. I can hear a tummy rumble, just a little one. So I've got the bin men, the cat outside the door, a slight kind of whispering, hissing, very soft noise coming from in my ears, I think, and a tummy rumble. Just one more sound I need. The voice, my voice. Pretty obvious one. So, that's sound. 5 sight, 4 sound, 3 touch, textures. Well, I generally look at the textures of the fabric I'm wearing. I've got the cloth behind me, which is very soft and furry. The texture of my skin. And at the same time I notice the temperature. My face is warmer than my fingers. The smoothness of the phone itself. Smoothness of my glasses. I only needed 3. So face, temperature, smoothness, and furriness. 3 textures. 2 tastes is difficult because when I got up more or less 8 o'clock when I should be here on the live, and went straight to the bathroom and I brushed my teeth, so I can taste the toothpaste still. The second taste I'd have to reflect back to last night. I had some plums just before I went to bed, or before I worked on my cards until 3 in the morning. It's the processing side that I find. One of my friends in Gaza, I shared some photographs, and he said, "I'm really admiring the way you persevere at this. Do you never get bored?" And I was showing him the paintings. Well, I don't get bored with the paintings because it's creative and it's joyful. But I do find actually processing them, mounting them into the cards, I have to be consciously mindful, otherwise I might get a bit just jaded and tired of the time it takes to mount them. And when it comes to actually putting numbers on them and listing them on the computer, that's also not so inspiring. Hi, Montserratobella. How lovely to see you. And Lizzie Wallace, I was thinking nobody's coming today, but you've come. I'll share the link with you for the actual video because I've just finished a mindfulness exercise, and I'll be ending the live soon. But I can read to you the poem that I had for this morning. And it's from my spiritual teacher, Sri Chinmoy. It's one of my favourite poems. See if I can do it from by heart. Oneness is the only need. We can establish oneness only when we become the soulful life of peace and the fruitful heart of love. Well, I can nearly remember it. I recommend you memorize your favourite poems, especially spiritual or inspiring ones, because you've got them with you all the time then. And they're like weapons. If you're going through difficult times, you can reflect on them and bring your attention back to being balanced and happy when things are difficult. So it's like wearing your armour. And I'm planning to do one every day. And I showed everybody my cards that I made last night. I made them yesterday, painted them yesterday, and mounted them during the early hours of the night. Actually, it takes so long. I started about 8:30 at night, and I didn't finish till about 2:30 in the morning. And my mindfulness exercise today was on the 5 senses, looking for 5 things you can see that are interesting, 4 things you can hear, 3 things that are touch, texture. I looked at my glasses, the furry blanket behind me, and the warmth and the texture of my skin. And then 2 things you can taste, and 1 thing finally that you can smell. And this morning I can't really notice anything that I can smell, but that's not bad. This is a mindfulness exercise. You're noticing what your life is like at this particular moment in time, not how it should be or any agenda. You're literally noticing what it's like to be me here and now at this moment in time. And when we finish the mindfulness exercise, I have a routine, a tradition. It's like wrapping a parcel. I start with stretches, then take my attention to my physical body, what it feels like, then my breath, and then I do the exercise, which today was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I take my attention back to my body. You can close your eyes to concentrate. Feel your physical body, what the sensations are, how it's such a strong, solid, warm chariot that you're driving, home that you're inhabiting. And then to your breath, make it gentle. You can feel that you're breathing in peace, breathing out all your stress. And finally, I have to put my phone up to the screen. I like to rub my hands together, create some friction and warmth, and then hold the sides of my face and just really feel that self-love. Gratitude for my body, gratitude for my life, gratitude for this new day, and gratitude for my lovely friends who've joined me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll share the link. I'm just going to make a note of your names because I'm trying to do a screenshot. One small screenshot. And I'll say, have a great day. Today's going to be a great day. Lots and lots of love and thanks for coming. Bye.